This is the story of Eze, the proud and arrogant wealthy man who questions everyone and everything and finds pleasure and completeness in his wealth. Today, he stands like an Iroko who just went through the humiliation of the axe. He stood there pondering on his life, which seems lost and miserable. His pride faded like the sun at the sight of a dark cloud. He couldn't raise his face, for shame has clouded it. He walked home defeated, not quite sure of what to do, whether to kill himself or kill his wives, or live with the lie.
Hello story lovers, welcome to Nana's Fairy Tales, where we share amazing and interesting stories. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we upload another enchanting tale.
Eze was the richest man in his community. He loved wealth and worked extremely hard to make money and cater for all his needs. He loved soft and easy life, so he did so much of work in his youth that he became extremely rich. Eze never believed in religion. It didn't make sense to him that any deity could be the source of his wealth or give him the power to make wealth. He strongly believes that he accumulated his wealth by himself and through his hard work. He looked down on people and laughed at the less privileged. He calls them a bunch of lazy and stupid people. He swore never to have anything to do with any poor man. He kept them at arm's length and moved with people of same status with him. Eze has an eye for extremely beautiful women. He believed that his money can get him even the finest woman. He said to himself, I can marry the daughter of the president of this world because I've paid my dues. No man will ever see me in my glory and refuse to give me their daughter in marriage. Eze boasts among his friends every time they go out for a drink. They would in turn boast of their own achievements, and it became a gathering of boastful and arrogant men. Eze got married to Adeze, the daughter of one of the richest yam farmers in the community. Adeze is a very beautiful and easygoing young woman. She is tall and straight. She has a pretty face that invites onlookers and eyes that kept people charmed and enchanted. Years into their marriage, Adeze had 3 children for Eze. They lived happily until Eze began to see another woman. Men in that community are known for their polygamous and promiscuous nature. However, it's only the rich ones that do it without shame and remorse. Adeze's relationship with her husband began to fade and fall apart as he started seeing another woman. The woman he was seeing was Ifatu, the only daughter of another prominent farmer in the community. After some time, he married Ifatu and the union produced 4 children. Altogether, Eze had 7 children and 4 of them were boys. He never felt so proud. He talks highly of himself and his sons during village meetings. He bashes and talks down on any man who is having any problem at all, whether it's financial problem or worse still, childlessness. He talks to them like that because of their own predicament. One day, during one of his fights with the man laughed and told him, "You think you're holding the world firm in your hands. One day, those things you hold on to and have pride in will fade away before your eyes." Eze laughed out loud and called him a fool. Eze told him that he should use his words and make himself a fortune instead of waiting for his downfall. Eze had told the man how he couldn't build a good house in his father's house and how he couldn't feed the only child he has well. Eze boasted and said, "You are talking to a man who feeds 10 mouths. I feed my wives, children, and myself comfortably. I have a very big house, enough for all of them. And there you are, opening your poverty-filled mouth to talk to me." The man walked out of the meeting. tearing up and ashamed. Years later, after not being satisfied with his two wives, Eze, out of his own greed, married his third wife, Obiageli, the last daughter of the king's right-hand man in the community. Obiageli stole his heart. He loved Obiageli with everything he had, gave her most of his money, bought the finest things for her, built her her own house, and showered her with the kind of love he hadn't shown any of his wives or kids. They were happily married, but there was a problem. Obiageli couldn't get him a child. She panicked and cried because her co-wives were using it as an avenue to get at her and humiliate her. Left for him, Eze didn't care. He already had 7 kids, so he's okay with them. Obiageli constantly disturbed her husband about going to a herbalist to know why she couldn't bear a child, but her husband turns her down. He didn't believe in the power of herbalists, but Obiageli insisted because she wanted her own kids. One day, after much pressure from Obiageli, he heeded and went with her. The herbalist they went to was the community's native doctor. Story has it that he sees the future and can commune with spirits. He saw them, and before they could say why they had come, he told them himself. They were surprised. The herbalist looked at Eze and shook his head. He said to him, "Eze, you are the son of your father. You've worked your way out of poverty." Eze was smiling at these words until he said, "But your lions can never produce a seed to continue your name and bloodline." Eze stood up immediately and yelled at him, "You blind fool! You see why I don't believe in vagabonds like you? I have 7 children, 7 seeds that call me father." The herbalist looked at him and laughed. He said to him, "You are living with 7 sons and a lie. You already know the sons. Go and find the lie." Those words came to Eze like a bombshell. For the first time in his life, he's questioning everything. The words of the native doctor lived rent-free on his head for days. He couldn't sleep well. He lost appetite for everything. One morning, before the fowls could even make their first crow, Eze traveled to another community to go and see another powerful native doctor there. When he got there, the native doctor saw his fear and sorrow and said to him, "That which you fear is the truth. You have 2 choices, to either live with the lie or live with the truth." Eze fell down and cried his heart out. He couldn't believe that his whole life had been a lie. He ran home, looked at all the children coming to welcome him. Like strangers, they felt different. He couldn't carry the younger ones like he used to, or play with the older ones. He bowed his head and quietly entered his room. He called all his wives one day and took them to the village native doctor. They didn't know why they were there, but they followed him anyway. When they got there, he told them to swear by the gods that the children they bore him are his. Silence swept the whole place. They couldn't say anything. His 2 wives, Adeze and Ifatu, were shaking in fear. They couldn't say a word. He shouted, "Can you people start talking?" Amidst tears, Adeze said, "I slept with Okoro, the village clown, to bear you children, because I don't want to go through the pain of being childless and watch another woman take over my home. I thought at first it was my fault for not getting pregnant until I slept with Okoro." Obiageli started hers. "The fear of being mocked and humiliated by Adeze, my co-wife, made me sleep with Chima, the palm wine tapper, to bear you children. At first, I thought it was my fault. I tried all the herbs I know and all the medicine I ever came across, but none worked. I became miserable, and in one of my conversations with Chima, I laid with him and became pregnant for him. That's how I had the 4 children." Eze couldn't find his feet. The fact that he has been having pride in other people's children baffled him. He wondered how harsh life can be. Reality struck him like thunderstorm. Should he continue living with a lie, or should he accept the truth? He fixed his gaze at a spot and couldn't move. He became all the bad things he had said to people. Imagine the community hearing that he didn't father any of his children. Would his big house be occupied by him alone? He felt like dying. His world was falling apart. All that he had glory in had been taken away from him. He lifted up his eyes and cried like a baby. Should he live with these 7 sons and a lie? Or should he accept and live with the truth? Life is really funny how we see ourselves sometimes becoming the things we criticized. Thank you for listening to this amazing story. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned lessons from it.